Hello everyone, my name is Landon and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be going over my top 5 favorite Stephen King villains, antagonists, whatever you want to call them. Bad guys, basically. And before I start this video, I just wanted to say thank you all for 300 subscribers. Actually, at the time I'm recording this video, my subscriber count is currently sitting at 314, which is crazy. We're growing way faster than I thought we were going to be. Literally at all. I didn't really expect it to make it this far, but thank you guys so much for 300 subscribers. I just wanted to preface that before I got into this video. But anyways, let's get into the video. With the number 5 spot, we have Mr. Gray from Dreamcatcher. Mr. Gray is awesome, basically. All these antagonists, villains, are awesome. And Mr. Gray is very unique in the way he takes over the mind and the body of a person, but the person is still inside looking out. And that's the case for one of the main characters in this book, Jonesy. When Mr. Gray takes over Jonesy's body, and basically, like, his speech, his hearing, and everything like that, he's controlling Jonesy on the outside, but on the inside, Jonesy is still literally looking outside of his eyes. It's sort of like a window. He's looking out into the world and watching what Mr. Gray does, whether it be horrific, whether it be anything, really. So he's basically trapped Jonesy inside of himself, and the only thing that Jonesy can do is talk to Mr. Gray and look out as he's inside. And I think that's just one of the scariest concepts of a villain. Like, imagine the villain trapping you inside of your own body and you can't do anything about it, and you're just inside watching out, and they're doing awful things. And Mr. Gray, his death scene is very awesome too. I'm not going to spoil it, but his death scene is awesome, and I just love Mr. Gray, and you guys already probably knew that based on my previous videos. At the number 4 spot, we have Purse from Duma Key. And it's not like a purse like your handbag. It's spelled P-E-R-S-E. I think it's Purse, right? Or Purse? I think it's Purse with an E, not a U. Purse is also a very unique villain, and not a lot that you don't really hear about Purse a lot in the Stephen King universe. She's usually left behind, or it. I'm pretty sure it's a she. And one of my favorite parts about Purse is the way that she contacts with the outside world. She uses Edgar Fremantle's paintings that he paints in his spare time to basically get out into the world and, like, spill her world into ours. And Edgar doesn't know this as he's, like, painting and painting and painting. She's just basically not controlling him, but as he's painting, she is slowly and slowly getting more powerful and flooding into our world. And what she does, like, at the art auctions, what happens after the art auction, and the ending of the book, it's a really cool way to end a book, especially how they stop Purse. It's a very cool way to end the book. And Duma Key, let's just talk about Duma Key for a second. I remember when I first read this book, I wasn't a huge fan, but it was a pretty good book. I think I put it at number 17 or 18 on my favorite Stephen King list, on my just list ranked of all. And then I went back and read it this year, and it jumped up to the number 6 spot, I believe. Number 6! It jumped that high on the list, because that's how much I began to appreciate this novel the second time that I read it. And one, for the characters. I didn't really remember the characters all that well when I first read it, and then when I read it again, I loved Wireman, I loved Edgar, and I especially loved the villain Purse, because they're all just so interesting, and this book is definitely one that you guys should pick up. At the number 3 spot, we have Pennywise the Dancing Clown. This is a classic Stephen King villain. When you think Stephen King, you think of It. And when you think of It, you think of Pennywise. Pennywise is so universally known to be one of the greatest villains in horror. And that's what puts him on this list. He's just so universally known, and the way he kills people, he feeds on kids, mainly, kids' fears. He takes the form of a clown because that's the most universally feared thing. People don't like clowns. But in the book, he turns into a werewolf, he turns into a mummy, he turns into the creature from the Black Lagoon. And it's just so cool how this creature feeds off the fears of children, and he can change into anything to feed off that fear. And Pennywise is also just a really fun character to watch. If you guys haven't seen the movie, the original with Tim Curry or the new one with Bill Skarsgård, it's just so much fun to watch Pennywise just do his thing. And I definitely recommend it. It's long. It would take you more than a summer to read this book if you aren't a very fast reader. This is a long book. but it is definitely worth it, and Pennywise is one of the coolest characters. Not even antagonists, just characters in general. At the number 2 spot, we have Annie Wilkes from Misery. There's just one character that slightly beat out Annie Wilkes. I love Annie Wilkes. The way that she tortures Paul Sheldon, and the way that she just deteriorates into this psycho person. Like, sometimes she's crazy, sometimes she's loving, sometimes she's, like, just out of her mind, and sometimes she's taking care of Paul. Because Paul Sheldon is a writer, and she wants him to write a book for her, and he's not all on board. And she has some ways of getting what she wants, and Annie Wilkes is just terrifying, because Paul Sheldon, he can't do anything about it. His legs are broken, and his mind is shattered. He literally can only just sit in the bed, basically for the whole book. He's in a wheelchair or a bed for this entire book, and he just has to take the torture that Annie Wilkes puts him through, and the psyche of her character and just, like, the physical attributes of her character are insane, and she's just such a fun character as well, like Pennywise. She's a really fun character, especially in the movie. Kathy Bates does an amazing job doing her character, and, I mean, she won an Oscar for that role, for Annie Wilkes, and Annie Wilkes is just such a fun character to read because of all the crazy stuff that she does. Like, one moment she'll be out of her mind, and then the next she'll be like, oh, I love you, and that's what, and her mystery is just so great, and I definitely recommend Misery. It's in my top 10. I think it's in my top 7, actually. It's up there. I think it's right behind Do McKee. I think it's the number 7 spot. Misery is such a great novel, and I definitely recommend it. And at the number 1 spot, we have Randall Flagg, the man that's basically behind everything. Randall Flagg is the main antagonist in books like The Eyes of the Dragon, The Stand, and the entire Dark Tower series. I love Randall Flagg for the fact that he's just so much, he has so much fun. He delights in all of the torture and the pain that he causes, and he's just such a fun character to read because he's having fun with himself. He's just like, oh, I may be a bad guy, but I'm having really fun with what I do. And especially in the Dark Tower series. In the Dark Tower, he's more of like companion to the gunslinger, but he's still the bad guy. But Randall Flagg is just a super fun character. Definitely my number 1 spot, because we follow him around for this entire book and the whole Dark Tower series. I mean, that's commitment to one character, and he's basically behind everything. There are people who mention Randall Flagg in every book, and he pops up everywhere. If you see the initials RF, or if someone has a name like Ricky, whatever, like Ricky Fair, or whatever his name is, it'll probably be Randall Flagg, because RF is the initials for Randall Flagg, and if anybody has a name that's RF in the Stephen King universe, there's a very high chance that that person may be Randall Flagg. So yeah, number 1 spot, Randall Flagg. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the bell icon if you're new. Let me know your 5 favorite Stephen King antagonists, villains, bad guys in the comments below. Thank you all so much for 300 subscribers, and I hope we keep growing. Here's to the journey to 400, and I'll see you guys in the next one.